Hey guys, welcome to the grammar lesson. Grammar is one of the most important yet overlooked aspects of the entire LSAT, okay? A lot of the times when my students come to me and they're struggling with a specific question, I find that they're struggling with what the stimulus is actually saying. Their problem is in the reading, okay? The LSAT is really good at taking uncomplicated concepts and making them really complicated through the use of language. Okay, so the root of language is always going to be in grammar. And if you start to pay attention in logical reasoning or reading comprehension, you'll see a lot of the really difficult stimuli, their difficulty comes from the use of complicated and difficult grammar. Okay, so the Harvard Language School, it says that grammar provides information that helps the reader's comprehension. Okay, so think about that. If what's supposed to be helping your comprehension is actually working against you, right, you can say that kind of puts you in a pretty bad position. Okay, one of the issues of studying grammar is that most of the time the rules we're following are rules that we follow subconsciously. Yet grammar is how we piece information together in our head. Okay, grammar dictates the rules between words in a sentence and how sentences interact. So trust me, this lesson you're going to learn a lot that'll help you break through those harder stimuli. So let's take a look at an example. It says, students that have incredible memories have a small advantage in reading comprehension, okay? Where I'm going to start is my subject. What's my subject? It's students, okay? And what is this sentence about, okay? Like, it's students, right? Students are what the sentence is about. But what are we supposed to do with your subject? Well, you've got to go to your predicate. And your predicate is something that tells us something about the subject. In this case, the predicate is the word have. And have what? They have a small advantage, okay? And then we've got modifiers. And modifiers are adjectives and adverbs, description words, which, in this case, what kind of memories do we have? Incredible memories. And what kind of advantage? A small advantage, okay? Where's the advantage? Is it just a general advantage or is it specific to something? It's an advantage in reading comprehension. So we've got the modifier words there modifying our subjects. We've got our modifier words modifying our nouns, okay? And they define for us the scope of what our little stimulus is telling us, okay? It would be out of scope to change one of the modifiers. An answer choice talking about a big advantage or an answer choice talking about an advantage in logic games would be out of the scope because it does not match the parameters our modifiers have given us. And that's why modifiers are actually huge on this, okay? My course has an entire lesson dedicated to modifiers, an entire workbook dedicated to finding and identifying and questioning modifiers within a stimulus, okay? So it's a very important topic, not something to just kind of take lightly and blow past, okay? So next up, let's talk about the importance of the grammar lesson, okay? So earlier in this course, I described premises and conclusions as the walls and roof of a house, right? Grammar rules are the nails and the glue holding everything together. If you remove all the glue and the nails, the whole thing just comes down, okay? That's what happens when a sentence isn't read with proper grammar. You just have a whole bunch of words, okay? So besides that, there's a study, right, to show you the importance of grammar that said 15% of people on Tinder and Bumble won't respond to people who use poor grammar. So in this lesson, in this course, we're going to be helping you with more than just the LSAT. You're very welcome, guys. First up, we've got referential phrases. And referential phrases are phrases that allow you to get caught up within a passage, asking yourself, what the hell did I just read? Okay, I'm sure we've all been in that position. They're found in both reading comprehension and logical reasoning. I think they're probably more common in reading comprehension, but when you have a really, really difficult logical reasoning stimulus, referential phrases are typically playing a role in that, okay? This should be one of those set of skills that you intuitively build up over time studying is finding, honing in, and identifying referential phrases and translating them. Let's take a look at an example. Jamie went to Italy and he bought milk, okay? The referential phrase here is what? It's he. And what is it referring to? What is he referring to? Jamie, right? I think you can see where I'm going with this, right? A referential phrase is kind of like a pronoun. It stands in for something else. Okay, I think a lot of the time when the LSAT does this, they take some kind of convoluted concept that you probably didn't understand all that well, And then in a later sentence or later down in the paragraph, it talks about it using a referential phrase. It says this idea or this concept and just crams it down into that referential phrase. Okay, and so if you didn't understand it in the first place, when they use the referential phrase to refer to it, how are you going to paste the meaning into your new sentence? Okay, again, this is going to be more prevalent with reading comprehension. So we'll be touching on this, the more practical use of these in the reading comprehension section of the course. Okay, some common referential phrases used in this test are that, this, there, he, she, it, right? Just common pronouns. Next up, we have comparative statements, and comparative statements are consistently tested throughout the logical reasoning section of the LSAT. There's something that you just kind of have to get good at, right? And the answer choices almost always take advantage of a poor understanding of conditional logic on this test. Let me give you an example. It says, I am a better cook than my mom. Okay, does that make me a good cook? No, for all we know, my mother can barely boil an egg. Right? To make this statement factual, all I have to do is be able to cook eggs. Okay, let's look at another one. Gordon Ramsay is a better cook than me. Does this make me a bad cook? No, it doesn't have to be. Gordon Ramsay could be the best cook in the world, and I could be the second best. Be really careful with comparative statements because a lot of the time, what they're trying to get you to do is equate a comparative statement to an absolute statement. Okay? With both of my examples there, I was juxtaposing the comparative statement I was given with an absolute statement. Okay? I am a better cook than my mother does not equal I am a good cook. Gordon Ramsay is a better cook than me does not equal I am a bad cook. Okay? Absolute statements make a blanket conclusion about something. Either I'm a good cook or I'm a bad cook. Okay? A lot of the time you see this comparative reasoning popping up in flaw and weaken questions, where you have a comparative premise jumping to an absolute conclusion. Okay? Let me give you an example of that. A recent study of office workers found that those who took 2 doses of the limitless drug had considerably more efficiency than those who only took 1. So if you want to be a very efficient worker, all you have to do is take the limitless drug. Okay? So what do we have here? Right? We have this example telling us that people took more of a certain drug, okay? And they became efficient, all right? Well, if we want to be a very efficient worker, how do we know that the baseline of this company wasn't very efficient workers? What if these are Apple executives taking it, okay? Does the guy only taking 1 of the limitless drug not have any efficiency? We have to kind of make that assumption. Okay, we have a comparative premise, 2 doses versus 1. And then we jump to an absolute conclusion that 2 doses makes you a very efficient worker. Okay, we would want our answer choice for something like this to say, if this was a flaw question, mistakes a relative property for an absolute. Okay, now there are countless examples of that throughout the LSAT, and you're going to see a lot of these lessons coming down when we're looking at different question types like must be true, necessary assumption, flaw, and weaken and strengthen are going to be involving comparative reasoning. Okay, and we'll have little sections dedicated in those lessons to seeing how comparative reasoning is directly tested for that goal in mind. Okay, so this lesson I just kind of wanted to put your feet in the water and draw grammar to the front of your attention because it is important. Okay, a lot of the times when I hear students, they come to me and they say, Alex, I'm getting this question wrong, and they're convinced that they don't understand what the question type is. They think there's some gap in their knowledge of an assumption or a flaw. And I take a look at it, and judging by the answer choice they pick and their reasoning for picking it, I can find that their issue is actually in the stimulus, not the answer choices. They misread. Okay, the LSAT is a very detail-oriented test. You need to have a firm grasp of what was said versus what was not said. You need to ask yourself, if they picked a certain modifier, a certain word, why use that? Okay, what bearing does that have on my argument? Very, very rarely will it be useless. And you can catch yourself doing that. You know, if you're reviewing a test and you chalk something up to a stupid mistake, ask yourself, is this actually a stupid mistake or did I fall for something? Okay? It's really harmful to your studying score if you're calling things stupid mistakes when in reality you're directly falling for something that you could learn from and correct that. Okay? Pay attention to grammar. You know, like you don't have to go get hooked on phonics and go back to a 5th grade level, but do a good review. Okay, there's a lot of good free grammar resources out there. I'm going to include a few at the bottom of this video for you guys to just kind of skim through and see in the questions you get wrong, how could language have played a role in you getting it correct instead? Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I'll see you guys in the next one.